It's Offside with Hawes and McGuire.
Hey, everybody, it's Offside with Hawes McGuire. I'm Hawes.
I'm McGuire.
All right. A pretty interesting couple of days. I want to start by talking about the Ottawa
I want
Senators.
to start by opening this.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I keep forgetting. We got to open. We got to open. We got to crack him. He's drinking export. You don't really know if what Liam's drinking at any given moment, but he is. Over the years, it's been predominantly an export man.
Well, you know, it all kind of started in '66.
You were 6,
7.
7. Okay.
Yeah, God, I just fell in love with the taste.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad gave me a little sip, and I said, I cannot wait till I'm 10.
Exactly, because that's legal drinking age in Ireland.
That's right.
It's,
Anyway, cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Cheers,
L'chaim.
man.
Okay, so exciting things happening, or rather not, in the Ottawa Senators sale.
Oh.
Did you hear this story?
Well, I've heard all the latest.
Antikolopoulos, the Greek guy with the OUS at the end of his name.
Yeah.
The one Greek man with OUS at the end of his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only guy.
The only one. Okay. Pulling out.
Yeah.
Okay. It's purchase interruptus is what it is.
That's
And-
good. I like that. You
Yeah.
should trademark that.
Exactly. I will do that. Because he was pissed with the process and how slow things were
Can
going.
you blame him?
No, not
No,
at all.
no, exactly.
I mean, what is there to do?
That's a shit show.
Okay, I got a
crazy.
bag of money.
Yeah.
Okay, and his bid was the highest to start off with, and completely. I mean, he has all the money.
Yeah.
Like, it's not one of those ones where, like, apparently the rap producer guy, the hip hop guy, the one that we're going to be involved in with Russell Peters and all that,
Right.
that group.
Yeah, we put our names in with
yeah,
them.
we put our names in with them.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have less money than we do. So
That'd be tough
so
to
they-
do.
Yeah. So they're not in. I mean, they're in, but they're not really in because you don't want a bit. I don't want an owner that comes in and does not have the pockets to operate the team.
Well, let me ask you this. You, in all honesty, you've dealt in a sort of a more of a high stake business world than I ever have, even though I think, fair to say, I don't know how many billion-dollar transactions you've been involved in. But the bottom line is, though, your business life has been a whole lot different than mine. At this point right now, however many weeks we are past the deadline, and the fact this thing hasn't been resolved or solved or any answers or whatever, I mean, like, what do you think's going on, Chris?
Well,
I mean,
so-
there's obviously there was a process, there was a deadline. Somebody should have had the top bid, and it wasn't accepted. Why?
Well, no, it has been accepted. Oh, sorry. Let's rephrase that. They're negotiating details.
Okay.
Okay, and as you negotiate details, but from what I have read, and that, again, this is only what I've read, so but it's been leaked that it's been a moving target with this merchant bank that is handling the transaction in New York.
Fair enough.
On behalf
Fair
of
enough.
the estate.
Yeah.
And so it turns out it wasn't just Eugene Melnick who was a dick; it's his whole estate.
Who knew?
Yeah. No, I think
Can't blame the girls
So
on
and then
that, I think.
no, absolutely not. And I mean, I believe they want to retain partial owner. They want a minority stake.
Well, that's
in the
what's
team.
been posted. I don't know
Yeah.
who to believe anymore either or not.
You know.
I mean, there's a few guys online that, Bruce Garriock's kind of been reporting on the Sens' behalf for a number of years, obviously. There's others that have thrown their hat in the ring, Hockey Night in Canada. Every now and then I'll make a comment on it or something. But, I mean, I listen, I'm at the stage, and I've seen the Sens fans on Twitter.
Yeah, have they been?
They're frustrated beyond belief.
Oh, absolutely.
Nobody wants to even hear about it anymore.
Yeah.
Just let us know when the deal's done, and
Yeah.
and then we'll say, okay, what's going on with Dorian? What's happening? See, here's the thing, though. It's got implications on
on the
DeBrincat.
draft. Well,
on the draft, but
they got to sign him by July 1st.
yeah.
That's the
Well,
deadline?
well,
right?
yeah. I mean, yes, for sure. I mean, he needs to be qualified
Right.
or
right,
not.
Yeah.
Or traded. I mean, there's got to be some sort of definitive decision made that potentially involves $9 million real dollars or a 6.4 cap hit, which is the lesser of the two, but the real
Right.
number's 9. Regardless, new ownership
They want to
shouldn't
have
have a
approval.
problem,
Yeah.
matching or putting the money up. But it's a question of that. Is that actually what you want to do? Even like, let's just revert back to the hockey side just for a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even, like, originally, I think on one of our previous shows, I said, look, just Just qualify the guy, get another year out of him.
Yeah.
If he isn't going to sign long term, get another year out of him. It's a 6.4 cap hit. You got new ownership coming. Surely to God, they'll be able to. And look, 27 goals. He's going to score. He's a 30-goal scorer in his sleep. He's had 2 40-goal seasons. He's going to be better. Is he a guy that's going to take you a team, any team, and be a contributor in the top 6 to a Stanley Cup contender?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he
so.
has. But Marchessault can.
Yeah.
You know, these guys. Marchessault's 5'9". DeBrincat's 5' nothing. I mean, these guys who are slightly smaller than what they're stated or what they play or how they look or whatever are still very effective hockey players.
But you know what? And that's the thing.
I would
And
sign the guy.
So would I.
Yeah.
So would I. I mean, we cannot continue to watch ex-senators flourish in other markets. I'm tired of it. I mean, you can go all the way back, but I mean, we're watching the Stanley Cup Finals right now, and we're seeing Stone, who we let go for for a box of cookies.
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean that.
You never know what that.
I mean, listen. There's a lot of politics that goes on behind the scenes, and I don't know all that's like.
Well,
I don't know.
Stone wasn't going to sign in Ottawa. It was kind of a forced deal. Kind of what's going on with DeBrincat. They're saying, okay, sign him and trade him as well, which is exactly what they did with Marian Hossa.
Yeah.
Hossa took the deal and it already said, look, we'll take this deal, but then we're skating. Or minimally we're testing free agency. And Muckler said, oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. And brought in Danny Heatley. Now, you can argue till the cows come home. Heatley goes on that line with Spezza and Alfie, and they tore it up.
They did.
They went to the final based on that line. Okay, so Hossa bounces around till he found a team that could actually win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 he was
he was
lost in the
Atlanta
final.
first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but even still, when he's going to Pittsburgh and Detroit, he's losing finals. Then he finally hooks up with Chicago and wins a pile and just becomes a splendid winger. Well, guess what? He already was a splendid winger in Ottawa as well.
He was, yeah.
But he was saying he was skating and Muckler didn't waste any time. So maybe you can do that, but he got Danny Heatley back.
Yes.
What are you going to get for DeBrincat?
Well,
you should get something.
You should, but here's the thing: a lot of this stuff is posturing, and let's take it right back to the negotiation for the purchase of the team. A lot of this, I believe, the walkaway is a negotiation ploy. I'm hoping. I'm hoping that he'll be back at the table in no time. They'll go, oh, hang on a second here.
Oh, you mean the Greek guy?
The Greek guy.
Oh, okay.
And I wish I could pronounce his name. And my apologies to all the Greek people out there. I know how to say souvlaki and tzatziki. That's it.
Telly Savalas.
Hey. Who loves you, baby?
Who loves you, baby?
That's the way.
Come on, man.
That's the way the cookie
we can't
crumbles.
have a show without a Kojak reference.
You know what? You gotta love Kojak. He was actually that was a great show.
I just loved him as an actor. I loved that show. He was the coolest cat, man.
He was a cool cat.
I mean,
you know what? Listen, he was a cool cat. Being a bald 50-year-old,
yeah,
you know what I mean. When you can be cool,
yeah,
bald and 50.
But he exuded charisma and character and personality and just toughness.
And you know what?
He had it all.
I'll do a quick shout out to another Greek. Actually, a couple of Greeks.
Oh, there's tons.
But a friend of mine who's doing so well for himself, Angelos Saroukas, who's also an Ottawa guy.
Ange.
Angie.
Yeah.
So Angie's doing great, and I believe he's coming back to Ottawa this summer. And so if you get a chance to see Angie in Ottawa this summer, do, because honest to God, he is not only is he a sweetheart of a guy, okay, but he's very, very funny.
He's a very funny guy, and that would be right up your alley.
It is. It falls
into your first love there, your first bailiwick. What would you say it falls into?
It falls in my wheelhouse.
Your wheelhouse. Yeah, there you go. I like that. It's always been a good one.
Speaking of which, I was at last night.
I filled in for Big Ange a couple times.
Did you really?
Not as a comedian.
Yeah, no, I know. I could see that. At the buffet table.
Yeah, you can see that too. Yeah. No, he's a big man, but no, he emceed
the boxing problem. Yeah, because he was big in that. That's right.
Yeah,
that
so I did it a few times.
Well, I mean, and I didn't mean to take us down this thing, but last night, so I get a text from the owner of Yuck Yucks in Ottawa. Okay. He said, "Hey, come down to the show." He asked Chris and I to come down to the show. Come down to the show. Mike Bullard was there, and a couple other guys from the old days.
Not the hockey Mike Bullard, but
not the hockey Mike Bullard, but the open mic with Mike Bullard, late night talk show in Canada.
Yeah,
Mike Bullard. He was in town, and he's come on down and hang out, and you know what I mean. And you know what? There was him. There was Rick Curry, who's another Ottawa comic from my era.
Not Rideau View Rick Curry, but
yeah, that's right. and Greg Eckler, okay, who was a writer for both him and Rick Curry and Greg Eckler were writers for Rick Mercer as well.
Okay.
Okay, and so
Strong.
oh yeah, and you know what? So here we are, the four of us, and it had been years since we'd been together. And Howie, who owns the club now, he used to he was honest to God, he said this was the greatest night because it was honest to God, it was a throwback to the late 1980s.
Cool.
When we were all like 30 years.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, man, long
30
time.
years ago.
More
But
than that.
we were all sitting in the green room. Anyways, we were talking. We were reminiscing about stories and talking about Mike McDonald and Norm and all the guys who had come through Ottawa.
Yeah.
Okay, and moving on. So I know I digress because I went to go throw something out.
You'll
for
never
Angie.
hear me digress, folks.
But anyways, the point is that we had a great time last night at Yuck Yucks, and Mike Bullard's here tonight. So if you can, after this, forget the game, go down to no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So anyways,
PBR the game and go to Yuck Yucks.
yeah, exactly. You should go
Why
see
not?
see Mike Bullard.
Yeah.
And Greg Eckler was telling me, he says this is his swan song. He is not
Oh.
going to perform anymore.
Wow.
And he's very funny, and you wouldn't like. He's very unassuming, but he's so funny. He is so good, right? And when he did his comic special way back, it was the first time Florida was in the finals.
Oh,
Okay.
96.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so he did his comic special for CBC, and he did a sketch in it where he's being interviewed as a Florida Panther player. Right?
No way.
Yeah. Oh, it's great, and it's funny because we talked about that last night because and he said, really, we're just lucky to be here, right? So far, like, you know what I mean? He goes, we've already succeeded because so we don't even have to play these finals because we've already exceeded expectations. You know what I mean? Anyhow, that whole bit.
He wasn't far off.
He was not far
That
off.
that ended tonight, by the way. The anniversary of Game 4 was today.
Yeah.
June 10, 96.
Speaking of anniversaries, yesterday,
Yeah.
and this is what I want to
Big
talk
one for
about.
the Habs,
Big
yeah.
one for the Habs and
Yeah.
Canadian, the last Canadian
Last
Stanley
Canadian
Cup.
city. Yeah.
Stanley Cup, and my lead in to this day in hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything on this day? in
Well,
hockey?
Chris.
You have something?
Well, there's something every day, obviously,
Okay.
which is a beautiful thing about it. And as I said, Colorado won the Stanley Cup their first on this day in 1996. So it's interesting that you're
Yeah.
saying he did a bit on it.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. Nice segue there. And Yui Krupp got the winner in a 1-0 game. I think it was in the 3-minute mark of the third overtime period. I remember that. My son had just been born a couple months before, so it was actually Rory's first Stanley Cup. But
Actually, that's how. Speaking of, I know it was Rory's birth, but that's actually how Yui got his name.
yeah,
Yeah. When he was born, his father looked at him. He said, Yui.
yeah. Well, you got that right.
And
He's a big man, but he shouldn't have done the dog sledding. But other than that, he had a good career. But anyway, if you know all about that story, Detroit a few years later. But yeah, that was. And the other 2 days ago, we talked about Toe Blake.
Yeah.
Being hired on June 8th, 1955. Scotty Bowman got hired by the Habs today in 1971.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
Interesting because he had success in St. Louis, but this was back to the organization that first gave him a shot.
Right.
Kind of groomed him as we discussed last show.
Well,
And that was
it made
interesting as well,
him. Hey, listen, it was a high-profile gig. I mean,
to say the
being-
least. They just won the Stanley Cup.
Right, but being in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
You're out of the limelight. You know what I mean? You're
Even though he had made 3
especially-
finals. But,
No, but
yeah.
even at that point, it was not like St. Louis, especially then, was it was not an original 6 team, so it didn't get the attention.
No.
Right, but when you come to Montreal, like, there's not a more storied franchise
No, for
than the
sure.
Montreal Canadiens.
No question.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, even
Number one in hockey
even
by
my
far.
even my Bruins.
Oh, for sure.
I at least acknowledge that. You know what I mean?
Well, you have to. I mean,
You
they
know?
dwarf everybody in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the Leafs were in the discussion until '67, and then they've been an abysmal facsimile of a hockey team for the majority of the time that they've played since then in 56 years.
Yeah.
But the
You know what I used
Canadians,
to say? Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah.
You go ahead. You
No,
finish
no,
it
man,
up.
go ahead, you
No,
go.
I used to say, I just remembered this as a kid because I didn't like Montreal, right?
Right.
And I said, what were the Montreal Canadiens beforehand? What was one of their names beforehand?
Well,
I
that
know
was
they
their
merged.
that was their original team name.
But there was the Montreal.
That wasn't them. That
Oh, I
was
thought
the-
it was a different team. Okay.
No.
Well,
The Montreal Maroons were
right.
a separate team.
So I used to say to my friend Peter Boyd,
Yeah.
okay, who's Randy's cousin.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Former Ottawa '67.
That's right. Yeah. And I'd say to him, I'd say, Weren't they used to be called the Montreal Morons?
Oh man.
And yeah, he used to go ballistic. He was Ken Dryden. He thought he was Ken Dryden back when we were kids.
In the ball hockey days,
Oh,
the road hockey days,
in road
or-
hockey, and,
Yeah.
and he was a goalie. In
Oh, he was a
real
goalie
hockey.
in ice hockey.
In ice hockey,
Okay.
but he played. But everything was an over exaggeration. It was great. But he, you know, a good guy. Actually, we had
Good boy.
you know, yeah. So anyway, sorry.
No,
busted
listen,
in.
I only had a couple things. There wasn't a ton. I wasn't gonna. You started with the Sand Sail, which was good because it is topical. DeBrincat is topical. Austin Matthews is topical. My buddy Dave Eastwood and I have been going back and forth for a few days. Former Pembroke
Yep.
Lumber King. His brother played in the NHL. It's
NHL,
Mike's
right,
brother.
Mike's brother.
So Austin Matthews is obviously a much higher different snack bracket than what's going on with DeBrincat, but there are some similarities. But he doesn't have a qualifying offer. He needs an extension.
That's right. But don't they have to like? So before he goes, if they put an offer out there, like everyone's got to at least match that.
Yeah. Well, Austin has a year left, right?
Right. But
So-
don't they before
but
he
then-
can trade? Don't they?
But
have to
he
have
has
an
a
offer?
no movement that kicks in July 1st. So then he
Okay.
calls a shot. So this is the thing. This is the thing. And Marner does as well. And he's got 2 years left. So that's the scenario with those two.
Right.
You know, with DeBrincat, he needs a qualifying offer by July 1st or he can skate.
Yeah.
So they got to either re-up him,
Yeah.
trade him, or extend him. It's one of three,
Yeah.
trade him or extend him. It's one of three ways. So so what do you do? So but then Chris, they say about a week ago or less, 5 days, or a week ago or so, 6 days ago, well, he submitted a list of teams to be
teams to-
traded to, right? And now, then. Bruce Garriock comes out and says, no, hold on. They've just had a conversation, and DeBrincat saying he'd like to stay in Ottawa.
Yeah.
Oh, well, which is it?
Well, listen. I don't know why you would not want to play in Ottawa. It's a great city to play hockey.
But that's immaterial. If he has decided he doesn't want to, you've got to make a decision, okay? It's pure
Yeah.
business right now. It's not just the fact the canal is pretty and, the market's great and blah, blah, blah. It's
There's
got, what
six
do you...
women to every one guy.
I know,
isn't
that
there?
is a fantastic scene,
Ratio.
let me tell you.
Is that still the
Holy
case, by the way?
Well, just go downtown.
All I know is that when I came to Ottawa, that's what everybody said. 6 women to every one guy. I know there was some guy who was walking around with 12 because I was lonely.
Well, probably was walking around with 18 then.
Yeah.
If I was it. But yeah, I don't know what the odds are, but I think if you're looking for some company, I think you can find it in the fantastic city of Ottawa and the
Oh,
Valley and the
absolutely.
rurals, if that's your thing. And
If girls are your thing?
If girls are your thing.
Listen, I'm hoping, if you're a man, I'm hoping girls are your thing.
well, for
And if
some
you're-
men it isn't.
Well, and you know what? And to quote Seinfeld, there's nothing wrong with
There
that,
you go.
but it's not going to help you in a city with 6 women.
No,
right?
that's true.
You know.
That's true, but you'll still, you can still do all right. But the bottom line is that if the DeBrincat actually wants out, then you move his ass, man. It's as simple as that. But
Yeah.
now, 3 days later, does he
Yeah.
really want out? So who the hell knows?
Well, this is the thing. You don't know what agents say this, that, trust me, I'm going to, you know what I mean? It's like when you're buying a house or you're doing, and if you're buying a business, you're doing anything. But,
Yeah.
this is why I say, there's, what, that's it. I'm walking.
You know what?
Okay.
You gave up draft picks for him. I know it sucks. You gave up a 7th. Who knows what he's going to turn into among the other ones. Bottom line is, I'm signing the guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a qualifying offer. I'm taking the 1 year. And if he really hates the city, if the team doesn't make the playoffs next year, they've got to have another mini blow up anyway.
Right, yeah.
I mean, look it's 6 years in a row. They had a 13-point improvement this year. It probably should have been more. They
Yeah.
actually were right in
There
with
was a lot
Florida.
of close games.
I
too.
know, yeah, for sure. And those games should flip, right? Now that's
Yeah.
all things being equal. You need to have some better goaltending. You don't need the reincarnation of Terry Sawchuk or a combination of Roy, Hasek, or Brodeur, but you need a goaltender. You need goaltending to be a little bit better. You've got to figure out whether it's a new coach or somebody else has
Yeah.
got to bring Thomas Chabot back on side. He's got to get back to the way he was playing 3 years ago.
Well,
He's
so what-
regressed.
Yeah, so I have a philosophy on, or an
The
idea.
offense will take care of itself.
Right. But you know what? He's not playing with the confidence that he had. I think it comes down to confidence. And I don't know whether that's a coaching thing or whether that is post-injury.
I'll tell you something. It's funny. I don't think we really had a plan how the show was going to go.
No,
but
I have a plan. Remember, I wanted to talk about the top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is good stuff. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care. All hockey talk is good. Here's the thing with Shabbat, seeing we're getting into it, okay? Something has become alarmingly apparent that A, he can't hit at all, and B, he actually doesn't defend particularly well. His strengths are moving the puck
Yep.
offensively
Great.
and his skating
Yeah.
and his offensive mind, especially where he's supposed to have been slotted for the majority of what was projected of his career, first unit power play,
Well,
obviously.
yeah.
But he's got no shot either.
But you know what? Here's the thing: you don't need a cannon.
No, I know, I
What
know, I know you
need
don't.
You need a target.
But these things, with the fact that they played him a number of years at an exceedingly high minute quotient, so and then it's just like these things came to the fore.
Well,
you
yeah.
gotta dial the guy back, slot him in, get him to just do the simple things, Chris.
Well, you know what? I here's my philosophy on that. I would retool him, okay? Because he's got all those skill sets. But you know what he does? And you say he's not a big hitter, but he's a
No.
great skater.
In fact, he usually gets popped
Right? No,
once
but
or twice
I-
a year, really good, and it gets knocked out of the lineup for 6
Right.
or 8 games.
So, but
every
here's
year.
what he's got to do. He's got to play like probably, in my opinion, the second best defenseman to ever play in the NHL, Nick Lidstrom.
Well, Nick's in the top six
okay,
or
yeah, he's
seven,
up
for
there.
sure.
I for me, anyways. But my point is, okay, I'm not talking Eddie Shore time.
Oh, well, then you can't say all NHL. You better say like since 1990
Okay,
or something.
All right. So, but my point is that they need to retool him because he is such a good skater. He can actually play like Lindstrom did because Lindstrom wasn't a big hitter.
No, that's a great
He
point.
was an angler.
Actually, you could get some video of Nick and just show it how he angled
That's
guys
right.
and just took guys out.
I would do. And by the
Tommy
way,
Shabbat's not a small man.
no, he's a big guy.
He's a good-sized guy.
But he's a big guy who
My
actually can
God,
skate.
if they could rekindle him and Chychrun stays healthy and you've got Sanderson,
Yeah.
get a little bit of goaltending and you got Norris coming back, just sign DeBrincat.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't make a deal that's going to minimally bring you back somebody who can score 25 in their sleep, then you know what? You say, sorry, Alex, I'm sorry, buddy. You're back in Ottawa next year. And you're playing. And if you really ever, then you're going to go, then you're going to go.
And here's the thing: he's gonna go lights out next year because, regardless, he's gonna want to.
Well, you'd think, right? Then
Yeah,
the onus will be on him.
exactly.
And then, if they make the playoffs, maybe make some noise. Even if they go out first round, making the playoffs step one, first round, whatever. Make some noise, do some things. Then maybe he does.
Yeah, it's
fall
like
in love
Glenn
with
Gary Grand Ross. First prize is a set of steak knives.
Yeah.
Second
Second prize.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, which kind of leads me to some, and I'm going to say, and I'll jump off by saying, and if you once you add Brady Tkachuk and that kind of, and if you listen, and I like Brady Tkachuk, but I
can you
love Matthew Tkachuk.
Well, Matthew's gone to a whole other level here. Look,
Right.
we've seen. Look, he didn't
The
get he
leadership.
didn't get Calgary. He didn't do anything with Calgary
No.
postseason.
No.
Like they got waxed by Edmonton.
but
Where
you
was he?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: for whatever reason, he's able to shine, and he's taken the bull by the horns.
Yeah.
and he's
Oh,
leading.
hey,
his
don't
team.
get me wrong. I know that he looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
And in the last game, like we were after
Yeah.
after the second intermission, you went back to your place, and
Yeah.
we were texting throughout the third,
Yeah.
and then the overtime, and not only a goal, an assist, and he was right there screening the goalie on that overtime goal.
Absolutely he was.
Right.
Yeah.
And and with a bump shoulder.
Well, allegedly, whatever it was.
I think it
that's,
is because he was not roughing it up. He wasn't.
No, you're right. We remarked on that when we did come on in the first intermission, and the Colasar popped him. There's no doubt about it. He
and it was
caught
a
him.
clean hit.
Totally clean hit. Just like the Chucks was on
Eichel.
Eichel.
Yeah.
Absolutely, totally clean hit. We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of hits big hits that have been clean. It's funny, you think in 2023 you hardly ever see them, but they're still in the game, which I
Yeah.
love, thank God.
Oh,
Still
yeah.
some physicality in the game. And look, Matthew took one, and Colasar administered it. And by the way, they're not; these guys aren't running 4 lines. Give me a break. Neither team is running their 4th line. Like, neither team has got their 4th line playing more than 8-9 minutes. Anyways, I digress. It's just listen to the guys say a 4-line team. No one, they're playing 3 lines and sparing these guys. Anyway, bottom line is Colasar popped them. Tkachuk's awesome. Brady is too.
Yeah.
Brady is too, man.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And with him as the leader on the Ottawa, I think the Senators are really poised to actually have a good run. And if they ever got the opportunity to play in the playoffs, I think that the passion that group of and they are still youngsters, right? They're still younger guys.
Oh yeah,
They got a
for
few
sure.
years.
That core's young, man. Look at
I think they could go deep. I think they could go
Yeah,
deep.
well, why not? Florida did.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, who called that? I mean, they were President Trophies winner last year, so it maybe is a little bit skewed because they were President Trophy winners and they got waxed by
Right.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So you know, it's like Boston this year. You know, sorry to go back there, but the thing is, they do what they do. You lose in the first round. Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
They're one of the most dominant teams the last 10 years, and
Yeah.
all they do is explode come any time there's a critical
Yeah.
moment in the playoffs. Bye-bye. They find creative ways to lose. That's
Yeah.
become their MO. So, you know, well, who knows with Ottawa? I don't think you need to say, well, all you need to say is, first, get in the dance, baby, because it's been 6 years. You're not the
Yeah.
Sabres who have missed 12, but you've missed 6. Get in
Yeah.
the dance, and you could make some noise. Brady Tkachuk, he's going to play like Matty. You know that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bunch of
think
other
so.
guys. But, you know, you got a lot of question marks, too. Like you know, even Batherson kind of faded in the second half of the season as well, you know. And DeBrincat in big games. I mean, but that was the whole team. It wasn't just one or two guys.
Right.
It was the whole team. And had some injuries, obviously Norris all year. Anyway, I think they're going to make the playoffs next year. I think they improve enough next year to get in, unless the goaltending absolutely massively lets them down. I think they
Yeah.
get in next year. Thomas Chabot, I like the way you said it.
Yeah, that's what
Retool?
I think. I would retool him.
Point him into a Nick Lidstrom. I mean, that's
Yeah.
high, you know, heady praise there.
Well,
to try and say, or not
I mean,
praise,
listen,
but
he's
to,
not going to
you
be
know.
a Nick Lidstrom.
No,
but
no.
he can play like him, and he should start doing such.
You know, Lidstrom didn't win his first Norris Trophy till he was 30 years old.
really? Yeah.
He was 30 years old before he won
And then he
his
won
first
what?
Norris.
Fucking 11 after that? I'm just
Oh,
kidding. Not
yeah,
11, but
well, no, but he won 7.
Yeah, there
and
you go.
and 6, I guess. Yeah.
So what's the record?
6.
7.
Doug Harvey has 7.
Okay.
No, Bobby Orr is 8. Bobby Orr is 8. Doug Harvey is 7. Nick Lidstrom is 7. Yeah, Orr has 8 the most, and then Lidstrom and Harvey are tied for second at 7.
He has a good burger, by the way, Doug Harvey.
Doug Harvey, yeah.
Doug Harvey's
Yeah, they make a good burger.
Yeah. You remember? I'm pretty sure Cornwall used to do ads for Harvey's. The Harvey's double burger.
I don't remember that, did he?
Yeah, I think
Yeah?
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but back in the day, like in
I know. I remember some of his commercials. I remember the one with Bobby Orr, and for the car, and it was a fish. They were fishing. I remember that one. That was back in the '70s. But
okay.
but I remember.
Remember the Guy Lafleur Monte Carlo ad?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he drove it through a
Yes.
sign.
Yes. Probably not the best
Yeah,
advertising.
exactly. No,
You
no,
know?
that's not always the best thing, but
No.
there's a lot more to Guy Lafleur than hockey sticks and
Yeah,
hockey pucks.
yeah.
That's right.
You know where I was yesterday?
where?
You're talking about Yuck Yucks.
Oh, you were at the
Sens
alumni
alumni.
tournament. You know, I'm so jealous. But tell me about it. Was it good?
Wow, it was fantastic. Speaking of great defensemen, Larry Robinson was there.
Yeah.
His brother Mo came. That's second year in a row Larry's come. So I did the hot stove with Chris Neal and Chris Phillips.
Oh, right.
And so, you know, speaking of Ottawa Senators, and Nealer was great, told a couple great stories, and Chris Phillips talked about some outstanding stuff. Especially, I asked him about when he played in an alumni event, and he was actually defense partners with Larry Robinson
Oh, really?
in an alumni event. I think I'm pretty sure I took a picture of them on the bench, and I think on the ice as well, beside each other, Phillips and Robinson. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I asked him about that because Larry's sitting right
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
you know, and Chris is the Chris Phillips, all-time games played leader for the Ottawa Senators, 1,179, and Chris Neal holds an NHL record for most penalty minutes on one team and one team only in NHL
okay.
history, 2,522. So they both have kind of staked their claim, and obviously now both have their numbers retired, along with Alfie
Yeah.
and Frank Finnegan on the Ottawa Senators. So pretty cool. But yeah, the whole day was 37 alumni there. They
Really?
just did an outstanding job, raised a ton of dough, 50 grand.
Yeah.
50 grand for the various charities, Soldier On, and the various charities that they support.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
Great time. Anyways,
Yeah.
talked to Nealer, you know, on and off the microphone, and about controlled violence in the game, and how fighting's still a part of it, and how hitting's still a part of it, and how intimidation is still a part of it, and how Florida ran over Toronto and Carolina.
Yeah.
Not so much Boston, but they still were every bit the match for anything physical. It's just the Bruins were that
Yeah.
much better of a team. We all know we've revisited that numerous times. But they're running into a Vegas team that are
They're
basically
bigger and
saying,
stronger.
"Is that all you got?"
But you know
Like,
what? So
no.
this is actually a great segue to what I want to talk about, which I know we only have a couple of minutes, but I think there's going to be a fight tonight. I see that because I see Florida having to come out hard, and I see Vegas having to push back.
I will go one step further, and I'll call the combatants.
Okay.
I will go Haig for Vegas, and I'll say, would Bennett drop the gloves with him? He's quite a bit smaller.
He's so small.
Yeah,
Not
so-
with Haig. Like that's unmatched. That's a bad match.
Yeah, but who's gonna go then? So I mean, because the Vegas guys have a lot of a number of other guys. Like I mean, their entire fourth line would probably scrap. But then, yeah, you think Matty's not going to get in?
No, he's not going.
He's not going to get
so
into it.
I think what it's going to be is it's going to be an altercation in front of the net.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to lead to it, and it's actually going to be Gudis for the
Okay,
Panthers.
yeah.
Okay, there's going to be one.
Not a noted pugilist.
No,
but,
no. But he's a tough guy.
Yeah, but he got rocked pretty good too, right? And I
Yeah.
just think these guys who got rocked are going to be a little reticent to maybe, even though it'd be a punch in the helmet or whatever, reticent to take a shot. I don't know. I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
yeah.
I mean, I just think it adds to the whole dimension of the game. Because the only fights in playoffs, and they do happen. I laugh every year at the start of the year where you get the usual percentage of media hacks will say, because they sit up there on their perch because they're all upset anytime somebody throws a dirty look, much less a punch. And there's no fighting in the playoffs, no fighting in the playoffs. And then by the first 2 rounds, it's been like 15 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it dissipates greatly as the series progress. And
Right,
we
because-
haven't seen hardly anything other than
No.
scrums here and misconducts handed
Yeah.
out. Typically, and obviously not much in that. Look, that last game, Vegas outshot them, outchanced them. There was
Absolutely.
hardly any hits, Chris, registered.
They outplayed them.
There was only 30 hits registered in the game,
But
but
Bob-
there was a physicality was still there.
Yeah, but Bobrovsky was the difference again.
Yeah, he
Sorry,
reverted
again,
back to form.
Because the first 2 games he was off.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
He's back. We'll see what happens today. We'll
see what happens.
This is going to lead off into what I texted you. Your top 3 fights of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we only have a few minutes. So
Yeah,
what do you
we
think?
can't really. And you know what's? I was thinking about it. I meant to discuss it with you when I came over here right away, and totally forgot because I was punching up some links for some people to watch us, hopefully. And
then I screwed it up and we changed the link.
Yeah. Oh shit! So they won't be able to.
So
find
well, no, they'll find it. I mean, like what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy. So we're gonna have less than 8,000 viewers on this particular episode.
Damn. All right. Well, look at. I mean, there's been hundreds and hundreds of great fights. I mean, to me, from an anticipation point of view, the Probert Crowder rematch on January 28, 91.
So to me, the Probert Crowder first fight was the biggest fight, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Well, because he's Sudbury boy, right?
Okay.
Okay, he's Sudbury boy.
I didn't like it.
He's a couple years younger than me.
Even though I have worked with him and he's a fantastic guy. I worked
He's a
with Bob
very
too.
nice guy, and
Yeah.
you know what? You would. I mean, his brother has got a few screws.
Oh, he told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Troy Crowder played up, like a couple of years up.
Yeah, I believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we were growing, and he was a great hockey player.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And he only learned to fight in junior.
Yeah, but that's a
Okay.
common story. You hear that a
And,
lot.
But anyways, when he took down the reigning heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a big deal, and that was a big
Yeah.
deal for anybody who.
It was a big deal for everybody. I was a
Yeah.
bar owner in Ottawa at the time, a place called the Original Six, and I went to the NHL schedule right away and saw when are they playing next.
Again, yeah.
And it was January 28. I believe it was a Monday night, if I'm not mistaken, and I ran promotions for 4 months. I packed our bar. And Timmy Higgins, who just found out a couple days ago was going to be inducted into the Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame.
Oh, really? Okay,
Had
good.
just retired. And he came that night to the Original Six and sat beside me. And he told me, he said, Liam, I talked to Proby last night. He's going in first shift. First chance he gets. Guess what? They never had a shift against each other in the first
know.
period. Was it McVie or
But they went
Petorka?
twice that game.
They went twice that game.
The
They
first
went
one was a
shifts.
draw.
Well, no, Proby knocked him down. Proby knocked
I
him
thought
down.
it
in
was the
first
second one. No, I thought it was the second one. he knocked
No,
him.
no. Proby
Okay.
knocked him down. Mickey Redmond lost his mind. It was absolutely, he knocked him down. The crowd has been waiting for this. Mickey Redmond went absolutely ballistic. So did our whole bar, by the way.
Okay.
And it was crazy. And every time Proby threw a shot, Higgy punched me in the arm. I almost broke my shoulder. and Troy came back. Give him credit, man.
Oh, yeah.
He came back and fought him and did very well in the second fight. You know, Troy went undefeated. Troy went undefeated until a week before that Proby rematch where he lost a decision to Mick Vukota on the New York Islanders. And then and then he had Proby for the rematch. And even like Laurie Boschman, who's the president of Senator Alumni, who I have asked about this a million times. He was with New Jersey at that time. When you see after Crowder's getting up off the ice, Boschman comes over. He's recovering from a fracture in his jaw or his cheekbone, and he's got one of the full shields on. And he comes over and he's saying to Crowder, good job, good job. Meanwhile, Joe Louis is exploding. Yeah. I used to do a gig, Chris, and I had on video, and I would put it up on the screens at the bars, and I'd say, I'm going to play you 2 video clips of fans.
Yeah.
You tell of Detroit fans. You tell me which ones are saluting the Stanley Cup winning Detroit Red Wings, or which ones are saluting Bob Probert winning a fight. And I'd play. Here's the clip. Here's the clip. Which one's which? And because
people can't tell.
No, because when Proby knocked Crowder down in that rematch, that was one of the biggest moments in Detroit history since they'd won that cup in '55. Because keep in mind, they didn't win another cup until 96, 97, 98.
Some about Ted Lindsay at that point, wasn't
In '55?
Wasn't the curse of Ted Lindsay for the longest time?
No.
What was it?
No.
Oh, that was Chicago.
Yeah, the Muldoon curse was Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Muldoon curse. When Pete Muldoon got fired by the Blackhawks in 1927, he said the Blackhawks will never finish in first place, and it took 40 years before they finished in first place. But no, Ted got traded away because he tried to start the union.
Right, exactly.
As did Gus Mortson, as did Doug Harvey, and they all ended up getting moved to different teams because they tried to start the union. Right. But Ted didn't put a curse on. And in fact, he ended up coming out of retirement and finished his career on Detroit.
Yeah.
In 65, 66, I believe it was. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
That's my number one. You know, there's 100 others, but that rematch, and plus I worked with them both. I worked with them both together in Kingston, actually.
Oh, really,
night. God bless Bob's memory. Yeah. And Troy's just a true gentleman. And he came on my show. He came on stage with me. He talked about it. He never shied away from it. He got me, you know, but I got him too. And Proby admitted it too. He said, look, I lost fights. You know, there's a facade out there that Bob, you know, Todd Ewan beat him. Ty Domi beat him. Wendell Clark beat him. You know, there's other ones that he beat. The thing is, with Proby, he avenged every one of them.
Well, and the other thing is that the purpose is served by them actually just being on the ice, right? When you go out, when you have and I you know, and again, you like the violence more than I do, right?
What?
But when you know, if you're going out there, you're not going to take a shot. People did not hit Gretz because Semenko was there.
1,000%.
Right?
1,000%. What do you think, Guy Lafleur? I mean, I was with Larry Robinson yesterday. You kidding me? You want to talk about a date in Montreal Canadian history? Sunday afternoon, February 17th, 1974. Larry Robinson, Dave Schultz. Yeah. It's ingrained in Hab fans' memories. Anybody that's old enough to remember that game. Some people confuse the year. They think it happened later, but it happened in 74. And when Montreal did eventually meet the Flyers in the finals in 76, it played a massive factor. There was no Flyer wanted any part of Larry Robinson.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's the bottom line. That's how it was.
Marvelville, Ontario.
Marvelville, Ontario. Yeah. Nice little farming hamlet. They lived on a little farm. I could drive right to it.
It's about 12 miles from here.
It ain't far, man. Yeah. It's not far from where we're sitting right now. And Larry's parents were just fantastic people. His dad, Les, used to cash my checks at the Metcalf Fair the night of the tractor pull, my $20 checks. And, you know, by the third one, he'd say, Liam, you have to get some food in you, son. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Robinson.
You know what? I've been telling you the same thing for years. I have never seen Liam eat. Ever.
I ate that one time.
Ever. It's literally. I've known you for 30 years, and I don't think I've actually seen you eat. And meanwhile, I've got chicken wings in my mouth.
I have a high metabolism.
That's what it is. Well, listen, we got to get back. We got to let people actually watch the game because it's going to be starting shortly. So here's what we're going to do. we're going to say thank you for watching. This has been Offside with Hawes and McGuire. I'm Hawes.
I'm McGuire. G'day.
There you go. Now let's see what this does.